Okay, now that we've opened a new workbook, you will notice a bar right here at the top of your workbook. Now this bar here is called the menu bar. An individual item on the menu bar are called tabs. So I have the home tab, the insert tab, the file tab, etc. We'll come to give a summary to what each of these tabs, what their functions are shortly. But below these tabs, you will notice a fleet of options. Now this place right here, this part right here are called ribbons. But one thing to notice about the ribbon is the ribbon you have for home option is different from the ribbon you have for insert option, and that's what's applicable to all the tabs except for the file option that has a different format of ribbon. Now also it's important to note that these ribbons are subdivided into sections. Now a section is like a group of related commands. So here you have the table section that contains 3 commands. If you come to home, you see a clipboard section, that contains different commands. So those ribbons are subdivided into sections. Now let's quickly take a brief look at what each of these tabs are for. First, I'll start with the file tab. The file tab, now if you notice, the template or the format for the file tab is different, and that's because it's the only tab that contains essential file related commands and Excel options. So while other tabs would help you modify the workbook or modify your worksheet, the file tab manages the entire options for Excel or for your file. So any modification you're doing here applies to the entire file or applies to the Excel as an application. Now going to the next one, you see the home tab. The home tab contains the most frequently used commands in Excel. So commands such as copy, cut, paste, changing colors, changing format size, changing appearances, they all come under the home tab. And depending on your level of Excel, 30 to 60% of the actions you will be performing on Excel will be on this particular tab. Next, we'll go to the insert tab. The insert tab is used for adding different objects to your workbook. So for example, if I want to have objects like images, I want to add a chart, a bar chart, there are different types of chart, pie charts and co. We'll come to those later in subsequent classes. So if you want to add items to your worksheet, you actually use the insert tab. So you can add images, you can add hyperlinks, you can add equations and footers, headers. That's what the insert tab is for. Then you have the page layout. The page layout provides a tool to manage the worksheet appearance. So if you want to manage the appearance of your worksheet both on screen and printed, so there's a way I want my sheet to look like when I print it out with the printer, or there's a way I want it to look like on the screen, there's a size I want it to be. This is actually where you do all that. Then the formula tab contains tool for inserting functions, defining names and controlling calculation options for your tab. Now do not be perturbed with all this explanation yet, but in subsequent videos we'll actually go into the details of what individual tabs are for, what individual options, and how you can actually use them. Then you have the data tab that holds the command for managing your worksheet data. So if you want to connect to like an external data source, for example, you have a database, say in SQL, or you have like a CSV format you want to import into Excel, or there is something you want to do to your data, you want to split your data into columns, you want to remove duplicates or set list and validations, you actually do that under the data tab. Then the review tab allows you to check for spellings. Just like you have in Microsoft Word, you can check your spellings, you can use the dictionary, you can track changes, you can add comments and notes. You can also protect your workbook. So for example, if I have a workbook that has information I don't want any other person to access, I can protect it with a password such that nobody else will be able to access it. Or if I have a particular formula I don't want anybody to tamper with, I can lock such formula such that nobody will be able to edit it. You can view it, but you can't edit it. Then you have the view tab here that provides commands for switching between worksheet views. So you can switch between different views. You can decide to freeze this top part here. Imagine you have a very long data set with different headers. Okay, so you can decide to freeze this so that as you are scrolling downwards, the top layer will remain as it is. We are going to cover all this in subsequent classes. This is just an introductory class. Now if you notice, there's a last one that looks different. It's called the theme tab. Now most likely you would not see this in your own Microsoft Excel application. That's because this is not a general Excel tab. It's actually a different a function Excel tab. And in our subsequent classes, in our advanced class, we are going to actually teach how you can also create your own tabs and customize your functions using macros and different options like that. Thank you very much.